Hello there, I'm back. This is a medium India stone. They're about, I think, 240 grit, somewhere thereabouts. This is the Marbles large Stockman that I sharpened the main clip point blade for earlier. And today what we're going to do is we're going to sharpen this Sheepsfoot. I absolutely love this Sheepsfoot. I love the tall spine, just fantastic. These are one of my favorite types of blades. Is a Sheepsfoot. They are fantastic. I've been using. Let me get some soapy water here, and we'll start. I've been using this knife a lot, and they come from the factory with a half decent edge on them that you can take a chrome pasted strop to and get an edge that cuts really well. You don't really have to, if that's all you wanted to do to it, it would work for you. It's worked for me for 2 or 3 weeks now, and it's still got like a super sharp edge on it for what it is, because I took it back to the pasted strop a couple of days ago because I had been working the knife and just refreshed it on that. But I want to kind of cut this bevel in well, smooth out all the factory abrasive belt type marks that are on the bevel of this blade, and get it in good solid basic shape to be worked with. So how's everybody doing? We're doing well. I just spent 3 weeks, or 3 weeks, I just spent 3 days struggling with the radiator replacement in, watch that, in my Kia Sedona. I'm using a bit of pressure, so, and my hand slipped because it was soapy. So anyway, I just spent 3 days working on the Sedona, and I got the marks to prove it. The thing is incredibly tight as far as room to work, and I haven't really done any even basic work on an automobile since probably the 90s, maybe earlier than that, 80s, late 80s, and that was on like a 72 Chevelle or a 71 Demon, you know, the 70s era, a Maverick, 70-something Maverick, that kind of deal. So not really at all used to the modern vehicles and all the crap that's on them. So so it took me a while. The spaces are smaller, and I made a couple of rookie mistakes by not paying attention to the radiator when I took it out of the vehicle. And so I did a video on it. That video may post soon, or it may already have been posted. So, don't know for sure. There's a shiny spot right there. What they did was they held it on the belt sander, and the hand sort of went like this, and there's like a little like dip in the bevel right there that I'm working on getting rid of, and I'm gonna go this way. What I'm doing, I'm trying to straighten out this bevel. If you look at this though, when they put the bevel on this knife, there's a bit of a curve that goes up like that. That should be flat. So I don't want to accentuate and make that round, because I like the flat edge, straight edge on these knives. I use them for, and a lot of times I use them for woodworking, marking wood. But I generally use one of these edges if I don't have to have a point, which is probably 90% of the stuff I use a knife for. I'm just checking to see how it runs along the... Okay, now you see? Watch the water. See how it's rolling over that now? Okay. So that's been fairly straightened out. That's what I want. I want to see that water roll over the entire edge. Now I could have put pressure more here, or I could have kind of lifted, but then you get into a situation where you're making this curve again. That's not what we want on this blade. But that's what we're looking for, and that's going away. And I want to kind of talk a little bit while we do this about something that I sort of went on about in the last sharpening video that I did. And it's sort of minimalist type sharpening. Okay, nice. And what I mean by that is, you see a lot of people on YouTube, and I do it too, so I'm not slamming anybody. What's the fun of having all the nice stones that we can buy if we don't ever use them? That's one. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But if you're a home cook, or you are working in stuff where you just need a really sharp edge, but you don't have to have a lot of refinement, I could buy this stone, or the fine, or that fine combo, that coarse fine combo I use all the time. And I could put an edge on every knife I got. A shaving sharp, one that will shave arm hair. And that might be all the edge that I ever need. What I want to do is I want people to understand, look, there's a difference between, lovely, refining an edge either because you want to or for a specific purpose, which is done a lot on YouTube. It's because people like seeing the stones, and that part of a channel YouTube channel. I can't speak tonight. Part of a YouTube channel is visual. Okay, that's why, you know, I have contemplated for the longest time getting a 8x2x1 soft Arkansas. They're not very expensive, and having that larger, thicker stone looks better visually if the stone has character, because the thing of it is all of the stones, the natural stones, which is what I prefer to sharpen tools and knives and stuff like that with, all of them, they're all going to have different patterns. Now I understand this is not a natural stone, it's a bevel setter profile type stone. That's lovely. I have a burr. That dip is gone, but I'm gonna, no, wrong side. The dip is almost gone. I don't know what I was saying. Oh, I have a YouTube channel, so, you know, I like the different stones. I like them because I like what they do, but I also like them because there's a visual element, and part of this hobby is, because that's pretty much what it is, although I could make a case that, and I think I would be correct, beautiful. There's a burr there, even though that dip is there, so I might leave that to subsequent sharpening. I'm going to sharpen it just a little bit more. But anyway, I could make a case that, and it is true, that understanding how to put an edge on a knife is an essential skill in life. It really is. Being able to get a really nice, solid, sharp cutting edge on a blade is a life skill that people should learn to master. And I'm gonna, okay, or at least be competent enough in that they can take care of themselves and deal with whatever it is they need. But you don't always need, you know, you might look at my channel and understand most of the stuff that I have, I didn't buy. I bought this for $8 at a flea market. It was, I've shown it before, but it was in an old wooden box and black as coal, and I didn't have any clue what it was. Okay. But I cleaned it up and prepped the surface, and we're going to go, by the way, if I get a warm enough day, we're going to go out to the bench and we're going to do some more surface prep on this with a lower grit than what's on it now. But, and I'm using it because I like these old Indias. You know, some guys like the old crystallines. I like the old Indias. Dude, that already rolled that burr. I want to go just a little bit more. Let me see what this side's. When you're sharpening a blade, you want to try to keep the bevels the same thickness, and that's why I'm going to continue to. This isn't quite as wide as the other side, so I'm going to go on with this. But I mean, and you're going to find as you sharpen and stuff that there are things you like. Like I like these old India stones. I prefer them for the low work, the grunt work, and I like the Arkansas stones. I prefer them on knives and tools. The only thing that I prefer just as much on on knives and tools for the low work, the kind of grunt work that this stone would be used for, That's better. Or diamonds. Diamonds are fantastic for this kind of work. Did you hear that? That bird, you can hear it if you pay attention. That's the bird grabbing. That's not... You can make that sound by raising your angle up too much from what you would normally be using. But this has got a really big fat burr on this side. And you can feel it. I can feel it when it scrapes. But anyway, that was a little high of an angle right there. But what I'm trying to say is that there's more than... Let me say it another way. You're going to see people on YouTube and the Facebook groups. Lovely edge. Oh, that's beautiful. I could use that edge right there with nothing else. The bird's gone. And be really happy with it. But you're going to see people on Facebook, YouTube, in the Facebook groups and YouTube community, or, you know, in the groups, the forums and stuff about knife sharpening and that kind of thing. And they're going to say, well, this is sharper, that's sharp, and it's not sharp enough if it's not like this, or it's not sharp if it's not refined to this point. All of that is bull. All of that is bull. Okay? Once you reach a point where you're cutting the hair off the back of your arm, how much refinement you choose to do is up to you, and nobody can tell you, oh, that knife's not sharp because you didn't take it up to a 600 or an 800 or a 1K, or you didn't go to a hard or soft arc, or you didn't go to a black arc, or you know, you didn't go here or there or the other, ring around the rosy kind of thing. Whatever. Okay? There are plenty of people over the hundreds of years of this country, and I'm just talking about this country, but it's true all over the world. But there's plenty of people for hundreds of years in this country that chose an edge that was lower grit, because that's what they had to work with. This is a Smith's hard arc that was gifted me by Chris Blaylock. Thank you, Chris. Anyway, the edge that you put on your knife is, number one, your responsibility. It's your responsibility to learn how to get it sharp and how to keep it sharp and understand what sharp is. But beyond that, the refinement that you take a blade to is your business. It's what you want. And what I really want to do is encourage people to try to understand that, look, you don't have to, if you want to learn how to sharpen a knife, the fact that you don't have 3 or 4 stones doesn't make a hill of beans. I sharpened on one of the flat, round India pucks they use to sharpen an axe with, okay? For 10 or 15 years when I was younger, well, no, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and got a scalding sharp edge off of. I've talked about it before. And it was everything I needed in a work environment where I would need a knife. So, yes, there are differences in the way a knife might sound when you cut through something. There's a big difference in the way that knife might feel depending on how far it's been refined or even sometimes kind of what you refined it on. Okay, there's a big difference in that, but that's all minutia, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to use an analogy that some of you will be familiar with and some people won't. But there are guys like in the audiophile world. And I know I probably got some audiophile guys here that would argue with me, but I don't care. I know that I'm right, and I don't care what's your anecdotal evidence, what you think you hear, all that kind of crap. They've proven in blind tests that most of that is a load of horse crap, okay? But there are guys that, okay, sound is directional, okay? If I hook a cable up to a speaker and that speaker gets used to pumping juice from one end of a cable to another end of the cable, okay, it will kind of like develop a memory, okay? Well, there are guys that swear that if they switch that around, they can hear there's a difference in... No, there's not. Not that you're going to hear. Even a dog couldn't hear that. Give me a flipping break, okay? Or, I got cables this big around, and the big, and they got large, medium, and small wires, and I ran the large wires to the low frequency, and the middle wires to the mid frequencies, and the thin wires to the high frequencies, because there's different wires need different resistance and different gauges for different frequencies. BS. Sorry. You're not hearing that. I don't give a crap who you think you are. You're not. Okay? And I'm not trying to be causing argument or anything else. Matter of fact, if you post that you can hear this or that or the other, I'm not getting into that discussion because I know it's BS. It's been proven to be BS by 1,000 different blind studies where nobody knew what was what. Okay? Real scientific studies, not this crap where, I think I hear this, I'm hearing this and I know, I can tell, I can feel it, Scientific tests. Okay, well, the knife world is the same way. Oh, that edge is not sharp unless you dance around naked at the middle of at midnight with pixie dust and face paint and body paint and all kind of stuff dance around on the head of a pin, all kind of crap. No. It's flipping sharpening. That's all that it is. It's not some mysterious thing that only some guys, because that was the way it was for the longest time with straight razors. There were these guys that kept talking about how mysterious it was, and that you had to have a special sort of skill and to get a straight razor the way that No, you have to have basic understanding of the bevel that you're cutting into that steel and the refinement level that's required for whatever it is that you're doing. In this case, straight razors, for sticking something up against. Because I promise you, I can take this edge and I can stick that up to my face and I can refine it just as fine as I can. But the bevel angle of this knife is never going to equal the kind of bevel angle. The thickness of the steel is never going to equal something like a straight razor. It's just the geometry is a whole lot different, and it's never going to be as comfortable as a true straight razor. But can I refine this to where it would shave really well? Yeah, I can. I've done it. Not this particular blade, but But the thing of it is, it's not meant for that. That's why the razors exist. But all this idea that you have to be some kind of guru, that and that nobody else, only a select few have the knowledge and understanding and the skill and whatever magic kind of fairy dust that they're talking about to put an edge on a knife, a good quality edge on a knife and stuff like that. And mere mortals can't even come close to that stuff. There are guys like that in the knife community. It's like, dude, it's a flipping knife. You're rubbing steel on a stone, man-made or not. If you do it right, there's no magic in it. Okay? And you don't have to have. If you don't have anything but something like that, Hey, hold on a minute. $2. I could put an edge on the blade, a really nice screaming edge on the blade with that stone. It's crap. It's not fun to hone on. It's more mud than it is anything else. Okay? But it costs $2 so what you want from it? Okay? But the point of it is I can put a screaming edge on a knife with it. You don't need all of that. All you need is the understanding of the technique. Oh, that's gorgeous. We're going to stop there. All you need is the understanding of the technique that's required to get an edge on a knife. And that is what I'm trying to teach you. And I want you to love sharpening things and carrying something sharp with you. Because I can tell you right now, I've said it over again and over again, and I'll say it again. You never know how much you need a sharp blade until you start carrying one all the time, and you'll find uses for it that, you know, I used this knife changing that radiator in the van, okay? And if I hadn't had it, it would have been harder to do. So, all right, bless you. I hope that you enjoyed the sharpening. I'll talk to you later.